Good afternoon there, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Travel and Sip. My name's Kieran, and I'm joined here by my good friend Ingrid, and we're here to give you a taste of the world. Today we are off to a very, very special place, I think, for both of us, somewhere we've been recently in Spain. And not just a region, I guess, this time, Ingrid, are we? We're going to cover a little bit of Spain in this particular episode. But as always, we're venturing into this region and having a little bit of a sip along the way. So, Ingrid, I might start off by asking you, what are you having a sip of this afternoon?
Yes, Kieran. So this afternoon, of course, I've gone with a classic Rioja, which is from the north region of Spain. So Rioja uses Tempranillo grapes. So that's something that probably most people have heard of before, a little bit like the Chianti of Italy, I guess, in terms of the famous regions. And I do love Tempranillo. So I have found this one from the little local bottle shop around me, and I have drunk this wine quite a few times before as well, so I already know it's delicious.
Cool. And excellent. Well, look, I need to start talking.
Oh, we seem to have lost. Can you hear me, Kieran?
I can, yeah.
Your audio cut out.
Okay.
Do you want to stop and start again?
Yeah, I have, yeah. I think.
Still says live in the top.
We're back there. We can always edit these things, can't we? I don't know if we've got anyone watching just yet. Anyway, that's one.
Okay.
Hey, yeah. One of the joys.
Nothing about the wine you're drinking. So tell me, what wine
Good. Well, I was going to say that just while I try and fix this up, I think we should probably start talking because I too am drinking a Rioja today, and the thing with it is that generally I just get an Aldi Rioja, but and that's probably where I first came across Rioja. But certainly on a trip last year to Spain, we drank a lot of it, and that kind of just seems like the drink of choice. Did you start drinking Rioja in Spain or prior to that?
I probably discovered it the first time I went to Spain. And that was probably early on when I started really enjoying some nicer wines as well. So my first time in Spain was back in 2003. So I've been to Europe a couple of times before then, but never made it south to Spain. So that was my first time there, and I only went to Barcelona on that trip. But I do remember having some Tempranillo and Rioja there, and that was, I think, my first time I'd ever had a Tempranillo. So I'd never actually tasted that grape before, and quickly developed a love for it, and have not stopped since. So it's definitely.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So 2003. What took you to Spain on that occasion? Why were you there?
On that trip, actually took some time out, had university break, so perfect time. You've got a few months off, so took about 10 weeks and went travelling through Europe. A bit of a backpacking trip it was. So decided to hit up all the probably major hotspots, I suppose, of Europe, and that was where Barcelona came in. So this photo here is of the Sagrada Familia, which is the famous cathedral in Barcelona, which has been, you probably know more history about it, I'm going to guess, Kieran, than me in terms of the specifics. But it has been being built for centuries, literally. I think it's a long time. It's still scheduled for another, is it 10 or 20 years before the event?
It's about that. They're not too far away, Ingrid. I think we were there last year and got the story. It's Gaudi, obviously, is the architect of this one, and it actually commenced probably in the late 19th century, early 20th century. So it's certainly over 100 years now. I think they might have actually just had the 100th anniversary not too long ago of the starting of it, and it's really an intense piece of work that you'll see nothing like it anywhere in the world. Really, it's quite incredible, isn't it? And my first trip to Barcelona was 2002. Probably was a similar stage. I've got the photo there from 2002 before the digital age, Ingrid, and you can see it was still not as colourful as going last year. There was all this colour, and there's all these fruits things on top of it and all that sort of stuff. And it's due for completion before too long, really, relatively speaking. I mean, normally a building is before too long means a couple of months, but this one is a couple of decades, and they're nearly there. So not too far away. So so Barcelona was your first port.
It was, yeah. So it was my first city I ever went to in Spain, and to be honest, the first couple of times I went to Spain, I only really made it as far as Barcelona, and fell in love with the city the first time I went. So I loved the Gothic architecture. I loved Gaudi's really unique architecture. I loved wandering the cities. I loved the food, the people, the wine, the music, everything.
Is there anything you didn't love, Ingrid?
Do you know what? Barcelona, to be honest, has a pretty strong attraction for pickpocketers. So I'm going to say that the number of thefts that can happen with tourists who aren't cautious of what they are doing in Barcelona is enormous, particularly in big crowds. I remember getting almost pickpocketed by someone when we were leaving the Magic Fountain show. So that's, again, just outside the main part of the city, and happens every night. And basically the fountain dances with water and music and everything, and it's a beautiful display. And the crowds leave, and it's all tourists, and it's a perfect place. I mean, lots of places in the world can be like that as well, but Barcelona is particularly bad for it, and you do have to be a little bit careful. So that's probably one thing I guess I really
highly skilled.
Yes,
they're highly skilled. Yeah,
highly skilled people. Yes, professional.
Excellent. So, and certainly, I think walking down La Ramblas is kind of an experience in itself, isn't it? And people certainly don't ignore you. I think walking down La Ramblas, you sort of you don't really meld into the crowd. You get to interact with a lot of interesting people. I think is probably my memory.
The buskers. I actually remember the first time I went to Barcelona. The buskers on La Rambla, just amazing. Just so many performers doing different things. So everything from music to dance to tricks, like magic tricks, everything, like anything you could think of. People in costume. It was amazing. It's such an incredible, eclectic mix of people in one street. So and tourists obviously as well. So
And so moving on from Barcelona, the next time I remember you had a trip there, Ingrid, where you might have got a little bit down and dirty. Was that at La Tomatina? Tell me a bit about it. When was that? Do you have any photos of this? Because I haven't seen any. But
no, I don't. There is no photographic evidence because they actually pre-warned us. So I did a bus about trip to La Tomatina, actually, and they pre-warned us that we probably shouldn't bring a camera. And it was very early on in digital camera days anyway. So it was 2000 and I can't remember actually, but anyway, so I think we only had we might have had a big SLR with us, and so we didn't want to get it damaged. So we chose not to take it, which meant no photographic evidence, but it was wild. It's crazy. Unlike anything I have ever been involved in. Crowds standing there for hours. You have to get there hours beforehand before it actually goes live, and you're all just standing around waiting, and then all of a sudden these trucks come through, push their way through this crowd, and just start throwing tomatoes at you. And it's crazy. And then picking up tomatoes and throwing them at people. And the key is that they tell you, you know, you have to squish them partly before you throw them. So obviously trying to avoid anyone getting actually hurt by a tomato, and they're quite ripe as well. So they do actually give pretty solid instructions on you must do this, you must not do this before you start. So it's good fun. It's good fun. It's a good crazy fight. And then afterwards, you're walking around town asking people to spray you off with hoses. So all the locals are out there with their hoses spraying you off, and you get €20 for cleaning you because your bus won't let you back in to go back into Valencia afterwards if you're not clean. Yeah. It's like, no go. You need to be clean and clean clothes. So that was the key. We had to make sure that we had clean, dry clothes in a backpack with us to be able to, plastic bag as well, to be able to actually put on afterwards as well. So, good fun.
So it was in, and it's in Valencia. So tell us a bit more about it. Did you get much of the story behind where it comes from and what the whole point of it is? I feel like there's a lot of religious festivals that happen in Spain. Is it a religious festival, or what's the point of it?
I actually can't remember. Is that terrible?
You just remember the tomatoes.
I just remember the tomatoes. I remember as well there's a ham up a pole at the start. When you're young, you're in your early 20s, you don't really think about what's the real reason behind it. It's just fun.
Yeah.
I don't think it's religious though. It's a religious festival. I don't think that's where it comes from. I don't recall that being part of the story. And I'm sure my bus about cheerleader would be deeply disappointed in me that I don't recall.
That you don't remember their spiel. Yeah. Yeah.
Correct.
Fair enough. So that sounds like a little bit of a,
Sorry.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's all right. But it sounds like that was kind of like your wild time in Spain, but you've been there a bit more recently. I've got some photos, I think, from this trip, if you can tell us a little bit more about this one, Ingrid. So where have we got here?
Yeah, so that one's in Palma de Mallorca, so on Mallorca Island in Spain. So, and that's another one from the same city, so the capital of Mallorca. So Mallorca's actually surprised me, to be honest. So I actually ended up there doing something I have never done before, which is be on a cruise. So I actually was on a cruise with a group for work. So I was actually working in the travel industry. As we know, Kieran, you sometimes take groups of travel agents away to show them around different places. We call them famils, so familiarisation trips. And this one was a famil that I was hosting. So I was hosting it together. I joined together with a cruise line. So we actually did a part rail and part cruise trip around France and then the Mediterranean Sea. So this was one of the stops on the cruise. And it was beautiful, actually. Palma really surprised me. Mallorca wasn't somewhere that I guess I'd ever really thought about visiting before, but I really enjoyed the day sort of wandering around the city there. Really beautiful. They had a beer festival on the day we were there, pure coincidence. And I do enjoy a good beer as well. So
don't we know that? Yeah. We could have done beers instead of Riojas today, surely, but or some cerveza. Huh?
Yes. But I can't go past good Tempranillo.
But you mentioned there the trains, Ingrid, and Spain's trains they're pretty good, aren't they? I mean, that you can get Barcelona to Madrid in something like 3.5 hours. You can even get up to Paris in about 6.5. I've done that one myself, and it's a beautiful trip. But one of the countries that very early on had high speed rail, I think Spain, and it. You know, I always think of that map of Spain and getting around. Everything kind of goes through Madrid. It's like this bicycle wheel with spokes, you know, spraying out everywhere. So if you want to get from one side to the other, you always go through Madrid. And but the trains there are awesome. Have you travelled any other way in Spain yourself, besides the cruise as well?
Yeah, not really, to be honest. Basically, all of my travel in Spain has always been by train. So everywhere I've gone in Spain, I've pretty much always got around by train. So I think I've got another couple of photos there, Kieran, of some of my travels in Spain of how I got around on the trains. So this photo here is a shot of the outside walls of Cordoba, which is is an incredible old city in sort of central Spain, not that far from Madrid, but again can be easily accessed as a day trip from Madrid, or if you're traveling from Madrid onto Seville or something like that, you can stop on the way. So this is me in Seville as well, which is a beautiful city. I really love Seville, home of flamenco dancing, and the beautiful plaza in the main area of Seville there as well. And this was another trip I was lucky enough to take a group of travel agents to. So we took the trains all the way around Spain, everywhere we went. So Barcelona, Madrid, Cordoba and Seville we did on that particular trip. And this one's us in Madrid. So this is right down near the royal palaces of Madrid. And absolutely beautiful city as well. I think it was my first time in Madrid actually on that trip, and that was in 2016. So not that long ago, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a fantastic city and had a lot to offer that I think people, sometimes Australians, can overlook Madrid in preference for Barcelona. And what I always have loved Barcelona and love visiting Barcelona, I do feel like it's actually really nice to get to Madrid sometimes where there's probably a few less tourists and it's a little bit less hectic. And more like you get that true taste of what a big Spanish city is like, whereas I think sometimes you get caught up in Barcelona and the tourist areas. So,
no doubt. Absolutely. I think my first impressions of Madrid was just this big hot city and not a lot going on. You know, spending a couple of days there last year, it really is a beautiful place and great food and great beer, and you know, it's just a magnificent place. But yeah, definitely underrated.
That sample of like how the local people live, like the markets there and everybody's sitting, you know, I remember going to this huge big food hall that they had there. Was literally, we were the only tourists in it. And we were traveling with the Spanish tourist office. So, you know, they told us about it and we went into this food hall. We got to sample from these different food little places and then sit upstairs overlooking like this beautiful old building overlooking everybody below us. And it was amazing. And just experiences like that, I think, are really special when you're traveling. So
beautiful.
And food, San Sebastian. So this photo here is the beautiful northern coastal town of San Sebastian, which I think a lot of people, you know, San Sebastian think of famous, you know, tapas, food and wine, incredible place to visit, to eat and drink, but also has these amazing beaches and is essentially a great place to actually go and have a walk along the beach as well. So when I was there, it was actually, I think it was late May, and you can see beautiful blue skies and nobody around. Like it's just so amazing. You know, so you're slightly on the off season rather than in the middle of summer, and you're still going to get gorgeous weather, but you just don't get the crowds that you'll get at the height of peak season.
Yeah, unbelievable. It's one place I haven't been, but you know, definitely if you're a foodie, it's kind of the place to go, isn't it? That's
absolutely. Yeah, we went to a couple of Michelin star restaurants when we were there as well. So that was a big thing as part of that trip, was going and checking out some of those really, really top quality restaurants, but also the little local tapas bars. So got a whole heap of recommendations from different people who had been there before, a couple of Spanish people that we knew, and actually asking them and going, well, where should we go? What should we do? You know, where should we eat? And getting those recommendations from locals as well. But
perfect.
Yeah, definitely
sounds amazing. Oh, I'm getting hungry, Ingrid. And well, certainly. Well, I think eating is kind of the theme that I found last year. We were there this time last year, June last year, and really, I think my memory is just eating and drinking a lot. Like we started off in Madrid, and we actually did a tour with G Adventures, and it was a great way to do it. I think because in my travels, I'd been a couple of times before, but really I needed Barcelona, and really trying to venture out. It was great to just have all that sort of stuff organised and not have to worry about it. You can just take in the sights, and you know. And G Adventures is pretty good company and a good mix of Aussies and Canadians and Brits and a couple of Americans, I think, as well. So it was a really good bunch of people, a bit older, a few young'uns. There was another G Adventures group that was going at the same time of us, and they were filled with 18 and 19-year-olds, and they were a little bit wilder than we were, but ours ranged from sort of
The split right then,
They did a split. Yeah. So we were sort of mid-20s up until, some in their 60s and 70s in our group as well. But really good bunch. And our trip, we started in Madrid, but then went down to Andalusia. So I got some pictures here just of Andalusia, and that's really, I guess, the home of Moorish Spain, and you get this real mix of this kind of Islamic art and mixed in with that sort of Spanish culture, and it's just a wonderful place, and really different and just eye catching. And certainly the Alhambra here in Granada is one that you can't really miss. Sort of this beautiful. Yeah. Do you know the other thing I found about Granada as well is it's probably the place that I could go the most because you have this afternoon nap every day. So you get up, you have breakfast, then you have some tapas, and then you have a nap, and then you get up again and you have lunch, and then you have maybe another nap perhaps, and then you have dinner, and it's just amazing. And you know, Granada, when you're talking tapas, Ingrid, Granada is the one place really where you still get free tapas with every drink. So if you've got beer or wine, in Granada, you'll get tapas with that. In other places, you pay extra and all that sort of stuff. But Granada is still the old school style, and it's something that really you can get used to pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
So that was Granada, and then it's beautiful, just magnificent. We had wonderful weather while we were there as well, and here is some of the tapas we enjoyed. So I think when you go to Spain, like eating and drinking is some churros.
Yeah.
Beautiful, and as you mentioned, we ended up in Seville with a flamenco show. And the thing is, like, even though these places in Andalusia, so Seville, Cordoba, Granada, they're so very close to each other, they all have very distinct ways of doing things. So the flamenco show in Seville is very different to one you'll find in Cordoba or in Granada. But they've all got and the tapas and the wine probably even, is all different. So you get these different experiences all in a very short space of time. So
it's like eating paella as well, isn't it? It's different in every city in Spain how they serve paella. Like I think it's traditionally from Valencia, I think is where it originally came from, and served with rabbit there. Whereas you go to some other places, like you get to, I think, Barcelona, and they love to put seafood in the paella, and they're very much focused around that fish and seafood element more than the rabbit, which is a traditional Valencian part of paella. So it depends where you are. I guess it's kind of, I don't know, it's a unique thing about a lot of European countries, isn't it, where they're so regionally focused, and every city is so special in what it offers in terms of its cuisine and culture, that we really, don't have as much of that difference, I think, in Australia as what some other countries do.
It's definitely something you notice, isn't it, in Spain? But talking about things you might not know, I just wanted to introduce, Ingrid, my top 5 things that you might not know about Spain. So see how many of these you did know.
Ooh.
Question, Ingrid, did you know that there is a ski field in the south of Spain near Granada?
No, I had no idea.
So the Sierra Nevada ranges, which you can see from Granada, they have skiing there all the way through to really May. So you can go there, which is phenomenal because it gets 45, 46 degrees easily in Granada. Yet just at the back, you've got these wonderful ski fields that are there pretty much until summer. So an interesting one that we found out last year. The second one, we talked a lot about Barcelona. The language, obviously, in Barcelona is Catalan. And it's something that I guess is becoming more prominent because there's a bit of a movement to maybe get some independence there in Catalonia and those sort of things. But did you know that the Catalan language, though it's very similar to Spanish in a lot of ways, is actually very, very much closer to French and Italian in a lot of ways.
Really?
So particularly French in the grammar. And the other thing you might not know is that Catalan is the official language of Andorra. In between France and Spain there, and is the official language in a few parts of Italy as well. So something that is a little bit more wider than just Barcelona and Valencia and these sort of places.
Wow, I had no clue. There you go. You're teaching me new things.
I am. I've got a couple more to go. Did you know, Ingrid, that there were some Roman emperors that came from Spain, from Hispania? Can you tell me how many you think there might have been?
Right.
And can you name? And can you name one?
Oh my
This is
gosh.
quick. Questions without notice.
Yeah. No, I can't name any, and I'm going to say 2.
You're very close. There's actually 3, Ingrid, and probably two of the more famous ones. So Trajan, probably arguably one of the greatest Roman emperors. He was from a little town just outside of Seville called. Hang on, I've written this down somewhere. Where did I put it? It's called Italica. It's about 20 minutes outside of Seville. You can go and visit. I think they've got some archaeological discoveries there, and you can go and see Trajan's birthplace. But also one that everyone would know is Hadrian. Hadrian was from Hispania, and also a little bit later on, probably the 300s, was Theodosius as well. So Spain, very, very important part of the Roman Empire due to its the fertility of its soil, really. And that brings me to the next one. Did you know, Ingrid, that Spain is the world's leading producer of olive oil?
Is it really?
It is. And by a long way too. It produces 1.5 million tonnes of olive oil each year. And just to put that into perspective for you, Italy and Greece would both produce around about 300,000. So it's about 5 times more production of olive oil than Italy and Greece, and which is incredible. But if you're traveling down from Madrid to Andalusia last year, certainly you do notice that it is rows and rows and rows and rows as far as the eye can see of olives, and just phenomenal.
Yeah, I had no idea. There you go. I always thought it was Greece.
Well, there you are. They certainly love an olive in Greece and those Kalamata olives, but the Spanish olive, that's the one that's leading. And my final thing, which I've already mentioned, is that tapas in Granada, it comes with every drink. But this, did you know, Ingrid, was by royal decree. One of the kings, don't know which one, Philip or something like that. I should probably look that up. But certainly they had a problem with drunkenness. And he said, by decree, when you serve some alcohol, you've got to serve something to eat with it. And that's why you see very few Spanish people drunk, because they're just nibbling away while they drink their wine and beer. But
I love it.
But that was by royal decree to stop public drunkenness. So a very good idea, I think, and probably something we can all take a lesson from. Ingrid?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And on that note, well, I think we say farewell to Spain, don't we, for now? And
well, for now.
Drink well and travel often.
Absolutely. And until next time.
Until next time.